And welcome to Frontline News. I'm Abigail Smythe. Coming up in the newscast, Assistant Commissioner of Police says crime is not only a police matter but community effort. Man accused of raping tourists at Montego Bay Hotel listed as person of interest for several sexual assault cases. Medical officer denies dengue outbreak in Manchester. Health Ministry provides details of mental illness campaign. In business, Industry and Commerce Minister Audley Shaw warns microfinances to be on the lookout for lottery scammers. In the region, St. Lucia said to be dragging its feet on significant marijuana investment opportunity. Further overseas, at least 17 dead in Hurricane Michael destruction. And in sports, Reggae Girls qualify for CONCACAF semi-finals after a 9-0 win over Cuba. Now for the news in detail. Assistant Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey says though statistics reveal a decline in crime, the issue is a national crisis, not only a police matter, and it requires community effort. More from Kimberly Broderick.
A large part of crime and violence in Jamaica stems from gangs or gang-related activities. Speaking at a press conference on Friday, head of the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch, CTOC, Assistant Commissioner Fitz Bailey, revealed that crime is on the decline.
There is a reduction in major crimes, and in particular murder. And if you link a lot of our crimes, especially murder, are linked to some element of gangs. And if we are seeing that level of decrease, then there's no doubt that the gang activities are actually lowering.
He said the reduction is as a result of joint effort between CTOC and the Police Federation.
Broaden our scope of investigation, and I can say that at the end of our investigation, significant amount of persons will be charged.
ACP Bailey praised the efforts of CTOC and the JCF as he revealed that they have been making tremendous strides in improving their investigations.
Well, the reality is we need to start thinking outside of the box. And as we own our talent and our skills as investigators, I think we are getting better at what we do. And so on that basis, we do not confine ourselves just to the narrow possession and trafficking. We go beyond that, and we are getting some excellent leads and excellent support.
He noted that the determination of CTOC and the JCF is to identify those involved in the various crimes and have them arrested in order to create a safer society.
We have to change it if we are going to save Jamaica. And so my message to the gangsters and family members of the gangsters, maybe you need to have a real talk with them, face to face, and try to encourage them to desist from their criminality. And if there are members in the community who feel that they have been involved in criminal activities and they really want to change their lifestyle, they want to, in the church they would say repent, I would suggest that they identify a pastor or a justice of the peace, or you can call us at CTOC, and we will show you the pathway to escape. And maybe I said it before, to purge your soul and your conscience.
Kimberly Broderick, Frontline News.
And in a follow-up story regarding the major gun find last week where 26 firearms were seized on the wharves, head of CTOC ACP Fitz Bailey gave an update.
Stan Grant, businessman of Peggy Barry, and his date of birth is the 21st of December, 92. Oakton Sankey, date of birth the 26th of the 1st, 86. He is unemployed of Kings Valley. Javon Shane Warren, date of birth 17th of the 10th, 96, unemployed of Peggy Barry. Licenia Christie, she is unemployed of King Valley, and her date of birth is the 3rd of the 6th, 96. And Chanel Montague, her date of birth is the 17th of February.
4 persons were taken into police custody in connection with the seizure. The guns, including an Uzi submachine gun, 26 magazines, 640 bullets, and a silencer were seized. They were found in a barrel containing grocery. The guns and ammunition are believed to have been shipped to Jamaica from the United States. Demar Scott, who is accused of raping two American tourists at the Rio Reggae Hotel in St. James last month, is facing more trouble. He has been transferred from St. James and is now in the custody of the St. Elizabeth Police. Mr. Scott has also been listed as a person of interest by the Manchester Police for several cases of sexual assault committed last year. Acting head of the St. Elizabeth Police, Deputy Superintendent Leroy Minot, explains that Mr. Scott is facing more charges.
He was taken into custody 12 incident, a report of burglary, rape and robbery with act. As a result, he will be questioned next Monday and formally charged.
Earlier this month, police reported that two female tourists were in their room when the gunman barged in. The accused reportedly raped one of the women and was raping the other when the weapon fell from his hand. The woman reportedly took up the gun and shot Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott was employed to the hotel as an entertainment coordinator and has reportedly given a statement to the police denying raping the women. 3 persons, including a female, were rushed to the Black River Hospital after a two-vehicle collision along the Lacovia Main Road shortly after 3 o'clock Friday afternoon. It is reported that a truck was traveling from Holland Bamboo towards Tombstone when it collided with the car. Kingston College has been mourning the deaths of at least 6 students and the hospitalization and incarceration of 2 others in recent months. The latest casualty, 5th former Daniel Ray, who died on Wednesday. Police reports are that Ray was shot and killed when he and a friend were playing with a firearm belonging to the friend's relative in Portmore Pines, St. Catherine. The other boy has been taken into custody for questioning in the presence of his attorney and his parents. AIDS Clinical Trial Group ACTG Medical Officer of Health for Manchester, Dr. Nadine Williams, has sought to assure residents of the parish that, contrary to recent reports, there is no outbreak of dengue in the parish.
And just want to add that I know persons have been asking whether or not there's an outbreak of dengue in the parish of Manchester. And just to remind you that dengue is endemic to Jamaica, that means we have cases of dengue year-round. And at this time, usually around August going up to March, we will see a rise in the number of cases. But so far, they are within a certain threshold, and so we would not classify that as an outbreak. It is not an outbreak. We're just seeing the usual trend in the increase of cases as per usual.
She is, however, reminding residents to get treated as soon as they start seeing the symptoms.
And I just want to remind persons that the principal symptoms of dengue are usually high fever, joint pains, muscle pains, sometimes a rash, loss of appetite, weakness. And so if they're experiencing any of these symptoms, they should seek medical attention as soon as possible, and of importance not to take any aspirin or ibuprofen. Panadol would be the best thing for the fever because you can have problems with bleeding if you take these other drugs.
She was speaking at Thursday's monthly meeting of the Manchester Municipal Council. The Health Ministry has provided details of its latest campaign, which is seeking to change how Jamaicans view mental illness and treat persons who are mentally ill. Marian Mary tells us more.
The Health Ministry has announced its latest campaign, which is targeted at changing the perception and treatment of mental illness. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton explains that 2 components are included to try and fix a mindset which is harmful for both the person who is ill and those around them. On Thursday, it was reported that the ministry is looking to discharge more than 450 of the 667 patients currently at the Bellevue Hospital in Kingston. These persons would be reintegrated into their communities while receiving care of mental health workers. Data from the ministry shows that in 2015, there were approximately 108,000 patient visits for mental illness in public clinics, and by 2016, the number of visits increased to 132,000. Dr. Tufton asserts that public education will be critical to addressing the stigma associated with mental illness.
the community acceptance we recognize is also sensitive because of the stigma. And so one of the things we're doing, and in fact I've started to recruit an agency, is to launch a public education program to provide ear cover for what mental illness means, how it should be treated with, why there needs to be compassion, understanding, why people shouldn't be abandoned. That's going to be taking place in short order, in that we've started that process.
The health minister also explains the other campaign components designed to deal with support services.
Secondly, greater mobilization of mental health technicians who will be more available in the respective communities. We are in fact ordering a number of vehicles to ensure that each parish is mobilized. We have trained and added additional mental health aides or to support the existing staff complement so they can respond more readily and support the community-based approach. I think we have trained over 30 over the past year, and we're recruiting and training more.
A call to action has been issued by the head of Mental Health and Homelessness Task Force, Dr. Earl Wright, for greater public-private partnership in the campaign to end stigma and improve the treatment of mentally ill persons.
We need to reposition mental health in Jamaica, where people see it as another illness, and educate them that it's an illness of the brain. And in my experience, the government can't do it alone. There has to be a public-private, and the community and public organizations have to be an integral part if we are going to provide all the services that's needed.
In the meantime, President of the Jamaica Workers' Union, Clifton Brown, is concerned about the impact the government's move to discharge more than 450 patients from the Bellevue Hospital will have on caregivers employed to the institution. He is concerned that they will be displaced.
And while I do understand the approach to community mental health care as opposed to institutionalization, you have quite a number of workers who are specialist trained and would not necessarily be easily transitioned into other areas within the government service. So the concern, therefore, has to do with all the categories of workers at the Bellevue Hospital and what their fate would be in light of this proposed 400 release of patients into the wider society.
Marion Myrie, Frontline News.
The parents of a critically ill infant continue to advocate for the best interest of their child in another round of legal proceedings. Sashley Hamilton has more.
The Office of the Children's Advocate is gearing up for yet another possible round of legal proceedings as the battle between the University Hospital of the West Indies and the parents of a critically ill 14-month-old patient intensifies. In the meantime, the parents of the infant, who was diagnosed with leukemia, remain unconvinced the treatment decided on by the hospital where she is admitted is the best one. A court order on September 27 gave the hospital permission to treat the infant and conduct all tests necessary as it sees fit. John Clark, the attorney for the child's parents, has filed an appeal of the ruling on the grounds that the Supreme Court breached its own procedures when it made the order. Mr. Clark says the parents are uncertain about proceeding with chemotherapy.
My instructions are that they are not fine with the order made by the court. And they are fine with that order on the basis that they are concerned with the negative effect that chemotherapy may have on the child's life, especially because they hadn't received the second medical opinion confirming that our course of treatment was the best treatment for the child.
He notes that the parents have not been informed on whether the hospital has started the treatment. Meanwhile, the Office of the Children's Advocate says it's not surprised by the appeal by the parents. Executive Director Diane Gordon Harrison says her office stands ready to ensure that the rights of the child are preserved.
The Office of the Children's Advocate almost expected this appeal based on the posture of both the parents and the attorney at law for JFJ at the first instance. And so we're not surprised. We were almost expecting this. The Office of the Children's Advocate, of course, because of its overarching responsibility for the best interests of children, has been served in the matter. We have always been in the matter. and we will continue to play that particular role and to dispense our responsibilities in keeping with the dictates and the requirements of the court.
A date for the hearing of the appeal has not yet been set. Sasha Lee Hamilton, Frontline News.
The Met Service is forecasting more heavy rains for Jamaica over the next few days. A trough across the Central Caribbean has been generating unstable weather conditions across the island. According to the Met Service, atmospheric conditions are expected to become more unstable with increased rainfall. The forecast is for periods of showers and thunderstorms, which could be heavy at times, to continue affecting sections of most parishes Friday through to Monday, especially during the afternoon. Come 2019, the government will add electronic document preparation and management to its list of subjects that will be subsidized for students sitting exit examinations at the secondary level. Gordon Barrett has the details.
City and Guild students are among those who will be provided subsidies for exit examinations, and those acquiring a marketable skill in National Vocational Qualification of Jamaica, NVQJ, and Caribbean Vocational Qualification, CVQ. The government already subsidizes mathematics, English language, science, and information technology. However, students must have an average of 55% and above to be eligible for the subsidies. Students on path and wards of the state who are eligible to receive support will also receive a full subsidy payment for up to 8 subjects. This means the government will undertake the cost of all fees associated with the examination. In a news release, the Ministry of Education said it will also provide a subsidy for 3 units in the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination CAPE each year, which includes the compulsory subject and 2 others. Full subsidy will be provided for the Caribbean Vocational Qualification, National Vocational Qualification of Jamaica, and 2 subjects in City and Guilds. In explaining the rationale for the assistance, Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid noted that with the introduction of a guaranteed 7-year program of study, more students will be remaining in school up to grades 12 to 13, and hence will require additional support for examination subsidy at that level. Codian Barrett, Frontline News.
The compensation deadline for victims of the Windrush scandal has been extended by the British government. Johnny Williams has those details.
Following a recommendation from the independent advisor appointed to oversee the development of the scheme, Martin Ford, the decision was made to extend the period that people have to respond. It will now close on November 16. Mr. Ford advised that it was clear people needed more time to respond. In July, the Home Office launched a 12-week consultation on a compensation scheme. Many migrants from Commonwealth countries, including Jamaica, were wrongly declared illegal immigrants, despite having been granted permission to settle in the UK from the late 1940s to the 1970s. As a result, some were threatened with deportation, the loss of their jobs, and others were denied benefits and health care. Under the proposed compensation scheme, the refusal of benefits payments, denial of health care, and issues with social housing will be considered. Jenny Williams, Frontline News.
And today, October 12, marks some memorable events in our history. Let's take a look at a few of those events. In 1964, the JIDC announces that the first shipment of Jamaica-made telephone equipment will leave Kingston for the colon-free zone, Panama. In 1982, the government of Jamaica, at a cost of $14 million following 10 months of negotiations, has acquired West Indies Limited. In 1988, the Importers and Distributors Association of Jamaica states that the supply of basic food items would return to normal within the next 4 weeks and that hoarding of goods and panic shopping is creating an unnatural shortage. In 1988, Prime Minister Edward Seaga announces the appointment of the accounting firm Price Waterhouse to undertake an audit of all supplies to Jamaica of emergency and other aid to assist in the rebuilding program and to provide relief from suffering caused by the aftermath of Hurricane Gilbert. In 1992, Caribbean Community Secretary General Edwin Carrington acknowledged that member governments were under outside pressure for a reduction on the community's common external tariff against third country imports. And those are some of the significant events of October 12. And we now take a break. We'll have Frontline Business when we return.
On The Exchange, Financial Gleaner and JNN Business Forum. Riveting discussions, engaging business moguls and disruptive ideas. That's The Exchange, Financial Gleaner and JNN Business Forum.
Every year, over 6,000 people die of heart disease in Jamaica.
My diet is high in calories. That increases my risk.
I never make time to exercise. That increases my risk.
My aunt has heart disease. That increases my risk.
Heart disease can affect anyone. It is the leading cause of death in Jamaica. What you should know is that a large number of these deaths are preventable.
Eat healthy. Get regular screening.
Exercise regularly.
Adapt healthier lifestyle choices while you still can. Reduce your risk.
RJR 94 FM celebrates 68 years, one station, a host of dynamic personalities, consistently credible news and sports, and a variety of the most engaging programs. RJR, in service to Jamaica and the world. 68 and still sounding great. Congratulations to the Big 94. Passion, people, personalities.
Violence against women and girls is a human problem, not just a woman's problem. It's a problem for men too. Gender violence takes many forms, including sexual assault, domestic violence, relationship abuse, sexual harassment, and sexual abuse of children. The magnitude of ongoing violence against women and children in our country is cause for alarm. We can end the violence. It requires all of us to end the violence. I call on all our men and women in Jamaica to take a stand. And men, especially, must get involved in this movement to create a better world for their daughters, their mothers, their sisters, their aunts, their uncles, their fathers, their sons, and for themselves. Let's protect and reassure. Let's unite to end gender violence.
We have it. Live. Days, weeks, months, and years. It's never too late. It's all in one spot.
Hey folks, good morning and welcome.
In food, drop in iFood, make you see your government.
College?
Yes. Live streaming from all brands, thousands of hours of video on demand. Discover the island's best by downloading the app or typing one.
Welcome to Frontline Business. I'm Cody Ann Barrett. In business news today, Industry and Commerce Minister Audley Shaw is warning microfinancers to be on the lookout for lottery scammers seeking legitimate businesses to hide their illegal gains. He says scammers are unable to do business with traditional financial institutions like banks, so they could turn to the microfinancing sector.
Make sure that you are not infiltrated by the illegal economy. Make sure you're not infiltrated by the underground economy. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Don't let lot of scammers come and get financing through your organization. Very, very important.
Mr. Shaw underscored the need for microfinances to uphold ethical standards and promote transparency.
I therefore want to use this opportunity to encourage our microlenders to ensure your products are not exploitative with ridiculous interest rates that instead of lifting our entrepreneurs, pushes them into a situation of unproductivity and perpetual borrowing.
Following last week's launch of TexGas liquid petroleum gas, or LPG, for automobiles, GB Energy Jamaica, the local operators of the Texaco gas station network, intends to enter the cooking gas market in partnership with a local company called Yardman Petroleum Group. GB Texaco CEO Mauricio Pulido says the plan is now with the Bureau of Standards Jamaica for final approval. Frontline Business understands that the marketing company has put up half of the $10 million in the initiative to set up filling plants and a distribution network for Yardman cooking gas that will be distributed in a small cylinder to households. That investment, when added to its $700 million TexGas LPG autogas outlay, will bring GP Energy's initial investment in breaking into the LPG market to more than $1.4 billion. Yardman Petroleum, based in Malvern, St. Elizabeth, is owned by businessman Miguel Smith. Knoxford Express Services is reporting net profit of $177 million for its 2017 to 2018 financial year. That's a 4% increase over the previous 12 months. The company says during the year there was a focus on the needs of millennials. This led to improved digital services while the company's call center capacity expanded. Knoxford Express says this resulted in revenues growing by 23% from $752 million to $926 million for the year ended May 31. Friday's foreign exchange market closed with the US dollar being sold for $132.54, the Canadian going for $102.11, the pound sterling for $175.56, and the euro selling for an average of $153.60. In Friday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 1,545 points to close at over 300,000. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 56 stocks, of which 30 advanced, 23 declined, and 3 traded firm. The Junior Market Index advanced by 29 points to close at 3,412. Stocks advancing were Barita Investments, Caribbean Cement, Caribbean Cream, Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, and Caribbean Producers. Stocks declining were 1834 Investments, Blue Power Group, Cargo Handlers, Carreras Limited, and Siboney Group. Trading firm were AMG Packaging and Paper, Kingston Properties, and SSL Venture Capital. Wasinco Group was the volume leader with over 8 million units, followed by JMB Group with 6 million units and Scotia Group with over 960,000 units. And in news in oil prices gave back early gains and turned lower on Friday after the International Energy Agency IEA deemed supply adequate and the outlook for demand sinking even as equities rebounded from a slump Thursday. Brent crude fell 56 cents a barrel to $79.70 a barrel after dropping 3.4% on Thursday. U.S. crude futures fell 2 cents to $70.95 a barrel. And that's it for Frontline Business. I'm Cody Ann Barrett. Pleasant viewing.
Hi, I'm Emily Shields. And Hotline is going to look even hotter on JNN. Welcome to Hotline Interface. And today we have with us...
That's RJR's 94 Hotline on JNN. Every Thursday at 10:10 a.m. It's more than talk. It's substance.
I am Stephen Shaw, Manager Communication and Customer Services at the National Works Agency. You are watching JNN, news worth watching every time.
Keep up with the business of the day every third Wednesday at 6 p.m. on JNN as we trade views with the movers and shakers of business in Jamaica on The Exchange, Financial Gleaner and JNN Business Forum. Riveting discussions, engaging business moguls and disruptive ideas. That's The Exchange, Financial Gleaner and JNN Business Forum every third Wednesday at 6 p.m. And remember to catch the rebroadcast at 4 p.m. on Sundays.
Every year, over 6,000 people die of heart disease in Jamaica.
My diet is high in calories. That increases my risk.
I never make time to exercise. That increases my risk.
My aunt has heart disease. That increases my risk.
Heart disease can affect anyone. It is the leading cause of death in Jamaica. What you should know is that a large number of these deaths are preventable.
Eat healthy.
Get regular screening.
Exercise regularly.
Adapt healthier lifestyle choices while you still can. Reduce your risk.
You have something special. You have greatness in you. I'm Les Brown, and you're watching JNN.
For a clearer understanding of the issues of the day, the cause and effect, join JNN's Insight on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Insight, a deeper look at the story behind the story. Insight, your reality check on what matters most. That's Wednesdays at 10 a.m. on JNN for your...
Welcome back to Frontline News. Now on to regional stories. Medical marijuana investors are seeking to cultivate hundreds of acres of land in St. Lucia, but the government is said to be dragging its feet on a significant investment opportunity. More in this report.
Companies in the United States and Canada have expressed an interest in starting medical marijuana projects here, the chairman of the St. Lucia Cannabis Movement, Andre Poncho de Queries, has disclosed. He said one of the investors wants 2,000 acres of marijuana to be grown in St. Lucia. The Cannabis Movement chairman, Andre de Queries, said the investors indicated an interest as far back as 3 years ago, while another just this year expressed interest. But de Queries has voiced concerns that this country could miss the boat as it is yet to legalize marijuana. We have already missed out on a lot of opportunities, the chairman of the Cannabis Movement told an online publication. De Queries revealed that 5 investors, 4 from Canada and 1 in the United States, have personally contacted him. He says the companies want to come down here and have us grow cannabis for their medical operations. According to de Queries, the Cannabis Movement was advised by the Office of the Prime Minister to speak with the Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for commerce, industry, investment, enterprise development and consumer affairs, Bradley Felix, about the matter. De Queries says, quote, "It shows that the PM definitely has intentions of entertaining these foreign investors," unquote. He said the Cannabis Movement has been trying to organize a meeting with Felix, the Minister of National Security, and the Attorney General. Joachim Duplessis, HDS News Force.
With the ongoing salary negotiation between the Guyana's Teachers Union and the government, the opposition leader is praising the president for intervening. We have more.
While it appears that a resolution is on the horizon in that salary dispute between the government and the Guyana Teachers Union, opposition leader Barry Jagdeo says he's happy that President David Granger has intervened.
I'm glad that the president met the teachers. We've been advocating for this for a while. So we do hope that, that there is an agreement that will be struck by the 2 parties that will keep our teachers in school.
Wednesday morning, President David Granger said that some of the issues raised by the union in the press never came up when he met with the union. However, Jagdeo said that the issues which went public by the union have been floating around for some time.
Those matters are not new to me, and I'm an outsider. I'm leader of the opposition. I read the papers. Those matters that the teachers are discussing now and they spoke about, those are being, from the beginning, they're part of their initial proposal. So it meant that the president really did not check the teachers' initial proposals that they made 2 years ago, nor did he read the task force report that he says does not meet the standards.
That report, Jagdeo said he read and has promised to make it available. Taking a jab at the entire situation, Jagdeo said that had it been a PPP president, an engagement with the union with the intention of resolving the matter would have been sought a lot sooner.
Vice-Chancellor of the University of the West Indies in Barbados, Sir Hilary Beckles, has spoken out about the abrupt closure of the Washington University of Mobius last Friday after operations at the facility came to a halt when the chief executive officer was arrested.
Anytime a university finds itself in a circumstance where it is before the law for losing track of the primary objective, which is to educate people. And I have read the media coverage that these young people are claiming that they have an ethical right to the education that they have paid for. And my heart goes out to those young people. I am in deep sympathy with them. It is unfortunate that this circumstance has.
And we take another break. International stories are up next.
Join GNN's Insight on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Insight, a deeper look at the story behind the story. Insight, your reality check on what matters most. That's Wednesdays at 10 a.m. on GNN for your Insight. GNN, news worth watching.
Hi, I'm Emily Shields. And Hotline is going to look even hotter on JNN. Welcome to Hotline Interface. And today we have with us...
That's RJR's 94 Hotline on JNN. Every Thursday at 10:10 a.m. It's more than talk, it's substance.
Violence against women and girls is a human problem, not just a woman's problem. It's a problem for men too. Gender violence takes many forms, including sexual assault, domestic violence, relationship abuse, sexual harassment, and sexual abuse of children. The magnitude of ongoing violence against women and children in our country is cause for alarm. We can end the violence. It requires all of us to end the violence. I call on all our men and women in Jamaica to take a stand. And men, especially, must get involved in this movement to create a better world for their daughters, their mothers, their sisters, their aunts, their uncles, their fathers, their sons, and for themselves. Let's protect and reassure. Let's unite to end gender violence.
Keep up with the business of the day every third Wednesday at 6 p.m. on JNN as we trade views with the movers and shakers of business in Jamaica on The Exchange, Financial Gleaner and JNN Business Forum, riveting discussions, engaging business moguls and disruptive ideas. That's The Exchange, Financial Gleaner and JNN Business Forum, every third Wednesday at 6 p.m. And remember to catch the rebroadcast at 4 p.m. on Sundays.
RJR 94 FM celebrates 68 years, one station, a host of dynamic personalities, consistently credible news and sports, and a variety of the most engaging programs. RJR, in service to Jamaica and the world. 68 and still sounding great. Congratulations to the Big 94. Passion, people, personalities.
Several persons gathered around an unconscious woman.
He executed a search warrant for firearms.
Welcome back to Frontline News. On the international scene, the U.S. death toll has risen to at least 17, including 5 in Virginia and 8 in Florida, and it's expected to climb. The devastation left by Hurricane Michael in several states is still coming into focus, with coastal Florida cities destroyed beyond recognition and homes, businesses and agriculture torn or swamped from Georgia to Virginia. More than 1 million customers were left without electricity, and emergency officials have no access to many towns. Turkish authorities have audio and visual evidence that shows a prominent Saudi journalist was killed inside the consulate in Istanbul just over a week ago. He had visited the consulate intending to get paperwork that would allow him to marry his Turkish fiancée. The details from the CNN.
Trump administration under intense pressure from Congress to send a stronger, decisive message to Saudi Arabia for its alleged role in the disappearance and possible murder of a Washington Post journalist. A source telling CNN that Turkish officials told their American counterparts that they're in possession of video and audio evidence proving the execution of Jamal Khashoggi, a frequent critic of the Saudi regime, inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. This comes as we're learning that prior to his disappearance, U.S. intelligence officials intercepted Saudi communications about a plan to capture Khashoggi, according to the Washington Post. I asked the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, if that's true, why did the U.S. not warn Khashoggi? I was told, no comment. U.S. lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are demanding consequences for anyone involved. There has been a worldwide backlash, with various corporations and media organizations, including CNN, pulling their support and or involvement in a major investment summit in Saudi Arabia at the end of this month, led by the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS. As of now, the Trump administration still plans on participating. They're sending Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin.
A Turkish court has freed U.S. pastor Andrew Brunson 2 years after he was detained. He was charged with helping to plot a coup against their president. The case had soured relations between Turkey and the United States, heightened by President Donald Trump's defense of Brunson. More from the CNN.
This is just into CNN. A Turkish court has now freed the American pastor, Andrew Brunson. He's been at the heart of a diplomatic dispute between Turkey and the United States. Our Ben Wiedemann is in Turkey covering the story. Ben, this had been a big priority for the Trump administration, particularly the Vice President, Mike Pence, and it appears that the Turks have now delivered.
Yes, it's a bit complicated, the verdict. Apparently, he was sentenced to 3.1 years in prison, but they subtracted the time he's already served behind bars through other legal maneuvers. At the end of the day, yes, he will be released. We understand that consular officials are already talking about details for him to travel out of the country. The house arrest he was under, the travel ban he was under have been lifted. Andrew Brunson is now a free man. Jim?
Yeah, it's interesting. That is a formula that other countries, Iran, for instance, have used when they've freed Americans, is that they don't say that you're innocent in effect, but they say you've already served your time.
Yeah, that's right. And it appears that the Turks, what we understood, sort of the atmospherics within the in the courtroom today was that the witnesses for the prosecution had contradicted themselves, and it did appear that the prosecution was pulling back and that some sort of resolution was inevitable, and this resolution took place just moments ago. Jim?
And it's time for another break. We'll have Frontline Sports when we return.
It's never too late. It's all in one spot.
Hey folks, good morning and welcome.
In food, drop in I food them, make it see about
college.
Live streaming from all brands, thousands of hours of video on demand. Discover the island's best by downloading the app or typing onespotmedia.com. One Spot.
You have something special. You have greatness in you. I'm Les Brown, and you're watching JNN.
Keep up with the business of the day every third Wednesday at 6 p.m. on JNN as we trade views with the movers and shakers of business in Jamaica on The Exchange, Financial Gleaner and JNN Business Forum. Riveting discussions, engaging business moguls and disruptive ideas. That's The Exchange, Financial Gleaner and JNN Business Forum, every third Wednesday at 6 p.m. And remember to catch the rebroadcast at 4 p.m. on Sundays. For a clearer understanding of the issues of the day, the cause and effect, join JNN's Insight on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Insight, a deeper look at the story behind the story. Insight, your reality check on what matters most. That's Wednesdays at 10 a.m. on JNN for your insight. JNN, news worth watching.
I am Steve Shaw, Manager Communication and Customer Services at the National Works Agency. You are watching JNN, news worth watching every time.
Hi, I'm Emily Shields. And the hotline is going to look even hotter on JNN. Welcome to Hotline Interface. And today we have with us...
That's RJR's 94 Hotline on JNN, every Thursday at 10:10 a.m. It's more than talk, it's substance.
Welcome back to Frontline News. It's time for Frontline Sports. I'm Kimberly Broderick. Jamaica's Reggae Girls are now just one match away from automatically qualifying for the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup. This follows their 9-0 drubbing of Cuba in their final Group B match on Thursday night to qualify for the semi-finals at the CONCACAF Champion being played in Texas, USA. The Jamaican women were led by a 3-timer from 16-year-old Jody Brown. Sashana Campbell also scored. Khadija Shaw, Denisha Blackwood, Christina Chang, and Marlo Sweatman were the other scorers. The Reggae Girls, who finished second in Group B, will next play world number 1, the USA, in the second semi-final on Sunday. Usain Bolt scored his first goals in professional football after starting up front for Australia's Central Coast Mariners in a pre-season friendly. The 100-meter world record holder, who is bidding for a professional contract, recovered from a painful kick in the groin to score twice against MacArthur Southwest United in Sydney. Bolt put the Mariners 3-0 up in the 55th minute after a strong left-footed finish, celebrating with his trademark lightning bolt pose. The Jamaican then capitalized on a defensive mix-up to score his second just after the hour mark before being substituted with the score at 4-0. The 8-time Olympic champion who retired from athletics in 2017 arrived at the Mariners in August in a bid to ignite his football career. Bolt expressed his concerns that Friday's match would determine his future with the club as he strives towards winning a professional contract and a place with the Mariners for the season, which begins on October 19.
I think I made some slight mistakes, but I assume it's my first proper game with the first team, so I'm just happy that I got a chance, and I'm proud of myself. It was a big deal. I think scoring a goal in your first proper match, it's a big deal. Your first start and scoring 2 goals, it was a good feeling, you know what I mean? Because this is what I work towards. I try to improve myself, I try to get better, and I'm on the way in doing that.
Catherine Mayorga's attorneys believe a series of files published by German magazine Der Spiegel are authentic and have forwarded them to Las Vegas police and other law enforcement agencies, including Interpol and Greater Manchester Police. The articles include a police report and non-disclosure agreement signed by both parties. Ronaldo firmly denies all allegations made against him. International news agencies have contacted Ronaldo's legal team for a response on the latest statement released by the legal team representing Mayorga. Jamaica's Sunshine Girls are 1-0 up in their 3-match series against England after defeating the English Roses 55-43 in the opening match at the National Arena Thursday night. The Sunshine Girls led throughout the contest, including 35-21 at halftime and 46-35 at the end of the third, before holding off the English women to finish with a 12-point victory. Captain Janelle Fowler-Reid led the way for the Sunshine Girls with 34 goals from 35 attempts and got support from Shanice Beckford, who had 12 from 17, and Chantal Slater 7 from 7. The second match will be played on Saturday evening at the National Arena. And with that, we wrap up Frontline Sports for this evening. I'm Kimberly Broderick. Pleasant viewing.
News Rewind on weekends at 8 p.m. on JNN. For a clearer understanding of the issues of the day, the cause and effect, join JNN's Insight on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Insight, a deeper look at the story behind the story. Insight, your reality check on what matters most. That's Wednesdays at 10 a.m. on JNN for your insight. JNN, news worth watching.
We have it. Live. Days, weeks, months, and years. It's never too late. It's all in one spot.
Hey folks, good morning and welcome.
In food, drop in I food them, make you see about
College?
Live streaming from all brands, thousands of hours of video on demand. Discover the island's best by downloading the app or typing onespotmedia.com.
Every year, over 6,000 people die of heart disease in Jamaica.
My diet is high in calories. That increases my risk.
I never make time to exercise. That increases my risk.
My aunt has heart disease. That increases my risk.
Heart disease can affect anyone. It is the leading cause of death in Jamaica. What you should know is that a large number of these deaths are preventable.
Eat healthy. Get regular screening.
Exercise regularly.
Adapt healthier lifestyle choices while you still can. Reduce your risk.
Hi, I'm Emily Shields. And Hotline is going to look even hotter on JNN. Welcome to Hotline Interface. And today we have with us...
That's RJR's 94 Hotline on JNN. Every Thursday at 10:10 a.m. It's more than talk, it's substance.
Welcome back to Frontline News. It's now time for Frontline Weather.
Good evening. I'm Sasha Lee Hamilton with your weather report and forecast supplied by the Met Service. There is a trough across Jamaica and the Western Caribbean. The trough is expected to linger across Jamaica and the region for the next 3 days. Tonight will be partly cloudy. Saturday morning, we'll see isolated showers and thunderstorms across sections of eastern parishes, with partly cloudy conditions elsewhere. On Saturday afternoon, expect scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms across sections of most parishes. That was your weather report and forecast supplied by the Met Service. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Ashley. And before we go, let's recap of the top stories. Assistant Commissioner of Police says crime is not only a police matter but a community effort. Man accused of raping tourists at Montego Bay Hotel listed as person of interest for several sexual assault cases. Medical officer denies dengue outbreak in Manchester. Health Ministry provides details of mental illness campaign. In business, Industry and Commerce Minister Audley Shaw warns microfinancers to be on the lookout for lottery scammers. In the region, St. Lucia said to be dragging its feet on significant marijuana investment opportunity. Further overseas, at least 17 dead in Hurricane Michael destruction. And in sports, Reggae Girls qualify for CONCACAF semi-finals after 9-0 win over Cuba. And that's it for Frontline News. Remember, you can watch our live stream at onespotmedia.com. On behalf of our editorial and production teams, I'm Abigail Smythe, wishing you pleasant viewing.